Hey everybody, welcome to the Addiction Unlimited podcast, where you get to learn everything you want to know about addiction and recovery. I'm your host, Angela Pugh, co-founder of Kansas City Recovery, life coach, and recovering alcoholic. To learn more about me, you can listen to episode 0 on your podcast app or find us on the web at addictionunlimited.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the Addiction Unlimited podcast. I'm your host, Angela Pugh. Thank you for spending some time with me today listening to the pod. I hope you're having a fantastic week. This week has been a busy one for me, and a little later in this episode, I want to catch you up on everything happening in my world and all the great things I have coming up for you. I know some of you are finding yourself in a spot that is super uncomfortable and stressful, feeling like a failure, wondering if you're ever going to be able to figure out this sobriety thing. And I remember being in that exact same position. I even, in my most unhealthy times, I actually believed that I was defective, like broken beyond repair. And my connection to alcohol literally made no sense. Like I couldn't grasp why I kept doing it, even though I was watching it destroy my life. I was watching myself deteriorate, and I felt powerless. Like I just didn't know what the hell to do, no matter how much I hated alcohol. And I really hated alcohol. Like the last couple of years of my drinking, I hated it. I was so resentful because I felt like it had this total power and control over me, and I couldn't stop it. And even with all that resentment, I still kept on drinking. And I'm talking about this for 2 reasons. One, because I'm always trying to come up with new ways that I can serve you and help you with good information and habits to build and a community full of support so you know you aren't alone. And I have some really exciting things I'm working on that you're going to love. And 2, because today's topic is rock bottom. Have you hit it? And where do you go from there? And rock bottom is like this figurative place we hit that signals it's time to make a change, right? It's usually very uncomfortable and unexpected, and it's different for everybody. I don't ever want you to get hung up on thinking that rock bottom has to be some crazy, dramatic event like mine was. There are millions of people in the world who have a rock bottom moment that didn't land them in the hospital or jail. And I think we put so much weight on the term rock bottom that you start to think it's only rock bottom if it's hugely dramatic or life-threatening or, some sort of crazy extravaganza. And that is just simply not the case. One of my favorite rock bottom stories is my friend Jen Couch. Jen Couch has Sober Sis, and she did a podcast with me. She's episode 29, if you want to check that one out. But Jen has this really beautiful story of a family life, being married, raising kids, a beautiful home, full life. She's active, and for all intents and purposes, she's happy, right? And in the midst of the sort of American dream story, she noticed that she was drinking more than she was comfortable with, and she didn't feel good about it. She felt this huge dissonance in her life, like her words didn't match her actions. Like during the day, she was doing yoga and eating healthy and drinking those dreaded green vegetable protein shakes. And she was living a life she was proud of, setting a healthy example for her family and friends. And at night, she was manipulating her time and feelings with wine, right? Over drinking, feeling really crappy the next morning, where she would go right back into painting the picture of the happy, healthy yoga mom. She didn't fall apart. She didn't get a DUI. She didn't get in trouble with her husband. Her family didn't do an intervention on her. There was no drama or chaos. Jen hit her rock bottom moment. She recognized she wasn't proud of the choices she was making, and she wasn't comfortable with how prominent alcohol had become in her life, right? And she wanted to be better. That's it. And I love talking about that too, how prominent alcohol had become in her life, because for me, you guys have heard me talk about my story where the very beginning of me realizing I had a problem with alcohol was realizing my relationship with alcohol was different and realizing that it sat front and center in my life more so than it did for my friends, right? I just knew my relationship with alcohol was different. And what I want to focus on for a minute on that part I said about not being proud of the choices she was making is, remember the episode about poking the bear? The bear is my alcoholism. And as long as I'm sober, he's in hibernation. And I want him to stay in hibernation. And anything I do that I'm not proud of is poking that bear and tempting him to wake up, right? Alcohol needs you to feel bad about yourself. It's the only way it can thrive and maintain control. When you feel bad about yourself, it gives the committee in your head all that ammunition to kick your anxiety into full gear and talk trash to you all day long about how bad you are and how weak you are and what a bad parent you are and what a bad spouse you are and what a bad employee you are, and you can't even keep your house clean and you can't get dinner on the table or whatever, all of those things. As long as the committee has all that ammunition to use against you, you will want to drink. Because in active addiction, alcohol is the solution to quiet the committee and squash the anxiety the committee causes. Alcohol is the coping mechanism you have used for so long, so you see it as the solution, when really it's totally the problem. So it's so important to get this at its core level. That's why just quitting drinking will never work, because just quitting drinking doesn't make the committee shut the F up. It's the core issues we have to focus on. We have to change what the committee is talking about, so it's positive and supportive instead of vicious and defeating. You have to take actions every single day that you are proud of, so you feel good about yourself and what you are doing and how you are living, because when you feel good, that bear has nothing to feed on. You'll never get rid of the committee. That ongoing self-talk is just a part of life, and it's something that everyone has. People with compulsions and self-esteem issues take it to a new level, like we do everything else, but it's just a part of life. So don't be mad at the committee. Just put some good time and energy into giving the committee new information to talk about instead of giving it ammunition to use against you. I loved that Jen recognized that she wasn't proud of her choices and she wanted to do better. And that literally was her rock bottom. And I'm not saying that it was all rainbows and unicorns, right? Like, I'm sure she had embarrassing moments, just like any drunk person does. And I'm sure there were disagreements with her husband or whatever that may have looked like for her. But the point is, she didn't ride the rock bottom train all the way to the bottom of the abyss, right? Like, she got off the train before it wreaked too much havoc in her life. And that's an option for everyone. You can get off the train whenever you want. Your rock bottom doesn't have to end like mine, covered in blood, face all busted up, getting ready to go to jail, right? That doesn't have to be your story. I hear people a lot talk about going to AA and feeling like they don't fit, or like everyone in the room is worse than them because their story isn't dramatic, right? The truth is, it doesn't matter what the details of your story are. And it will not serve you well to sit in a meeting and pick out all the ways you are different from everyone and how you don't fit, right? That's just giving the committee more ammunition to use against you, so it can tell you you don't belong. You don't fit here either. You are separate from these people. Then it can keep you isolated and alone, and the bear has more discomfort to feed on. Instead, understand that the details of our stories are not the important part, and that's not what brings us together. What connects us is our feelings about what we are doing. It's the feeling of being defeated by alcohol. It's feeling worthless and out of control. It's feeling as if you hate yourself because you can't figure this thing out, and feeling like you're piece of shit for what you're putting your family through. Those feelings are what bring us together, not the details. You may get to that place of desperation and defeat from having a few glasses of wine at night and feeling groggy in the morning. For me, it was more chaotic. It doesn't mean that my alcoholism was worse than yours or that we aren't the same. Maybe you didn't need to sit in jail and feel like the biggest loser on the planet to sink low enough to make a change, but I did. Maybe you look into the perfect little faces of your children and recognize that you want to be better. You want to be the parent they deserve and the parent they long for, to teach them and guide them, to play with them and teach them healthy and strong self-esteem so they don't turn to substance to feel better. Your rock bottom can be just that simple. So once you hit rock bottom, where do you go from there? The first thing I would say is get a good, solid commitment from yourself. I mean, decide to change. Don't try. Don't decide you're going to change until it's uncomfortable or until it gets hard, but decide for real that you are doing this no matter what. That's one of the most important pieces. When I quit drinking, and I truly believe this is a big piece of my success in sobriety. When I quit drinking, I quit. Drinking was not an option for me, no matter how badly I felt. It was off the table. If a thought of drinking popped into my head, I would immediately say, yeah, but we don't drink anymore. I'm not drinking anymore. I got to figure out a different way. That's not how we do it anymore. I committed, I decided for real, and I committed to that decision. You could not have paid me $1 million to drink. Alcohol literally tried to kill me. And you guys have heard me say this before. I really like you too, but if you tried to kill me, I wouldn't hang out with you anymore, right? So why would I continue to hang out with alcohol? So for me, that's just how it made sense, right? So start there. Get a really good, solid commitment from yourself and understand that it is going to be uncomfortable. Understand it is irritating. Sometimes you're going to hate it. And that's okay, right? None of us have ever died from being uncomfortable. You can get through uncomfortable. And I think we don't challenge ourselves enough. That's a big, big, big piece of this too. In relapse, it's like we want to fall apart under the pressure of anxiety and discomfort and boredom. We just want to crumble under that pressure. The truth is, you are perfectly capable of handling that stuff. You just got to tell the committee to take a hike. You've got to step in and know that there are solutions and be willing to find those solutions and act on them and get through that discomfort, right? That's what being committed to a decision is really about. Once you have that real decision and that real commitment, then get my recovery recipe, because it's literally a step-by-step guide as to how to start making the most simple changes, totally fast and easy, to give the committee new things to talk about. Honestly, it's so simple, it's kind of ridiculous, and it doesn't have to be super time-consuming either. It's not a pain in the ass, but this is your guide. If you want to feel better fast, if you want the committee to stop beating you down all day, every day, then you'll be willing to follow some simple instructions so you'll feel better. And this is the first test, really, to see how committed you are and how solid your decision is. Are you willing to follow simple guidance and do something that will help you? Or is the committee already making excuses as to why you don't need something like this? Is the committee telling you you can figure it out on your own, or you can get the recovery recipe later when you know you will probably forget? Like, you don't have to take action now, you can do it later. Or maybe you got my recovery recipe and you never even opened it or tried to use it. You guys, this is your alcoholism talking. It needs you to stay the same and not take action so it can remain in control. The bear needs to eat. And if you take action and do something to make yourself feel better, then he can't eat. So of course he's going to tell you to not do it. Of course he's going to tell you to wait until later. You don't have time right now, or whatever the excuse is. This is how he talks you out of going to meetings, or gets you to not look for a new job when you want one, or gets you to not work out when you really want to. And he gets you to continue eating shitty even when you want to do better. The bear is trying to maintain control. And the hardest part of this is recognizing when he's talking shit to try to sabotage you, and then doing the thing he's trying to talk you out of. Because you've made a decision to do better, to be better, try harder, and accomplish what you want. Tell the committee and that bear to sit down and shut the F up because you are taking over now. Then go get the damn recovery recipe and start taking simple actions to rebuild yourself and be proud of who you are. And you can get it at addictionunlimited.com/recovery recipe. It's totally free. So don't think I'm trying to talk you into buying anything. It's absolutely free. And again, it's addictionunlimited.com/recovery recipe. And I'll put that link in the show notes too, so you can click on it and get it right from your podcast app. But again, it's totally free. I know a ton of you guys have it. I love that you're using it. I get really great feedback about it, and I appreciate that. Okay, so make a decision. And don't think you can't do it or it's too hard, because it isn't. That's exactly what the bear wants you to think. He will put up a fight. So be prepared to hear the committee spewing all his lame excuses for why you don't need help, or you don't need support or guidance, or you don't need to go to meetings, or you don't have time because you're so busy, or whatever the thing is he is telling you. This is something that to me is both sad and amusing, right? Because we talk ourselves out of things so easily, or we let the bear talk us out of things so easily. Think about it this way. If you went to the doctor and you were diagnosed with cancer, you would do everything in your power to fight it. You would follow the doctor's recommendations to a T. You would figure out how to pay for it. You would quit your job if you had to make time for your treatments and or surgery, because cancer is fatal and will take your life. Well, newsflash, addiction is fatal and will take your life. Alcohol will kill you. So if you catch yourself making excuses, even if they feel totally valid and rational, that's the moment you have to double down and be committed to your decision. I go through the same things. You guys, I work a lot on my podcast. I do all of my own editing, marketing. I make all my own graphics. I do all my own social media. I write all my own copy. I build my own websites. And on top of that, I have a whole other company with 2 sober living houses with 17 guys to manage and protect on a daily basis. I understand being tired. I understand being busy. At the same time, I will never for a moment allow my sobriety to suffer because of the choices I'm making. Right? I can get up a little early and do a meeting online, or watch a good sobriety video on YouTube, or listen to a podcast. There are a million ways I can nurture my sobriety on a daily basis, but it's up to me to make that choice and to make a commitment to taking the action each day, because I decided I will not take a drink again. Another example I use when people tell me they don't have time is, if you dropped your phone and broke it, I promise you would create an hour in your day to go to the phone store for a new phone. I promise you would, because it's important to you. So why would you not carve out a small piece of time each day to nourish and feed your sobriety? Is your phone more important than your sobriety? I don't think so. So let's recap. How do you know if you've hit rock bottom? I think rock bottom is the moment that you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're ready to make a commitment to change, and you are willing to tell the bear and the committee to shut the F up so you can follow simple guidance to get better. Let me save you some time right now. You can't do it on your own, because the bear has hijacked your thinking and he broke it. It's just that simple. He broke it. So you can't sit there with broken thinking and figure out your own solutions with broken thinking. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You have to follow the guidance of people who have had broken thinking and fixed it already. We know the path, so let us show you. It's really just that simple. really, you're really ready to commit and make changes when you cease trying to talk yourself out of help. Before I really decided to get my shit together, I was always against everything. I didn't want to go to meetings because of my anxiety. I didn't think I needed the things that other people needed. I didn't think I was as bad as those people or whatever. I would never take any suggestions, and that kept me isolated and separate and alone and drunk. But when I had that rock bottom moment and I really decided I was ready to change, I took every suggestion I was given. I didn't fight anything. I didn't say maybe, or maybe I'll do that later, or I don't need that right now. I literally took every suggestion and I ran with it. Even the things that sounded absolutely terrible to me. And there were things, right? Like I have terrible social anxiety. I'm not good in groups. That I got there and they said, you need to get connected and hang out with other alcoholics. And this lady came up to me and said, Angela, a bunch of us ladies are having dinner tonight. We'd love for you to come. And in my head, of course, the bear and the committee were going, oh God, no, that sounds terrible. We're definitely not doing that. We want to go home. We want to isolate. Let's be by ourselves. We definitely do not want to hang out with a bunch of strangers. You know what came out of my mouth? I said, absolutely. I'd love to. And I was lying because I wouldn't love to, but I knew because it was suggested to me by the people that had walked this path before me, I knew that's what I needed to do. And I knew, even bigger than that, I knew that I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I needed the guidance of those who had already accomplished what I was trying to accomplish. Think about it. It's the same reason we hire coaches, right? Because we're ready to do better and be more committed, and we want the accountability to hold us to our commitment. That's why you guys hire me. The same reason we hire personal trainers, so they can teach us how to do better because we are really committed to doing better. But before I was ready to commit to changing my eating habits or exercise habits, I wouldn't hire anyone because I wasn't totally committed. So I didn't want that accountability. I didn't want someone to know I wasn't really committed, right? So I screwed around on my own, printing healthy recipes and Googling how to eat well and joining free online programs that I never followed because there wasn't real accountability because I wasn't really committed yet. When I got serious, when I decided, for real decided, and committed to my decision, that's when I hired the right coaches to get me where I want to be and hold me accountable for my actions and my daily choices. I got guidance to get me where I wanted to be from people who knew how to do what I couldn't do on my own. And that leads me to catch you up on some of the things going on here at Addiction Unlimited and what I'm putting together for you. First of all, I want to give a shout out. I usually give a shout out in the beginning of the episode, but as usual, I just started chattering and running my mouth and I forgot to do a shout out. So I want to give a shout out to Katie, who just joined my 2K intensive platinum package. Katie has been struggling for the last year, trying to quit drinking. She would get like several days sober, sometimes even a couple of weeks sober, and then she would fall back into old patterns and habits, drinking with friends, or even drinking at home out of boredom. And I love Katie's story too, because she wasn't a hardcore daily drinker like me, but she noticed that whenever she did drink, she drank more than she wanted to, and she would wake up the next morning feeling like crap, usually late to work, and then she felt embarrassed because she wasn't as together at work, and she was just feeling all around crappy, right? So she decided, for real decided, that she wanted to commit to making a real change. And she wanted that hands-on support of my 2K Platinum package because she wanted to really understand drinking from the inside, and she wanted daily guidance and support to change. And that's what we do in 2K. It's daily support with me. And I'm so proud of Katie because she's brand new to this. Her rock bottom wasn't extreme, and she's totally committed to a new lifestyle, and she's super excited. So yay, Katie. So happy to see her and have her in that 2K. And for those of you who want more support in your journey, whether you want the daily support of the 2K Platinum package or just weekly support with one-on-one mentoring with me, you can find all the available coaching options at addictionunlimited.com/coaching. I also do group coaching every Monday evening that is really inexpensive and a great way to connect with other people who are doing the same thing and are here to support you along with me supporting you. And you can find that info also at addictionunlimited.com/coaching. And I will also put that link in the show notes so you can get there and sign up right from your podcast app, addictionunlimited.com/coaching. Seriously, addiction doesn't deserve to win, right? So decide, commit, get support, okay? Lastly, I am creating an online course for my recovery recipe. I am so crazy excited about this. It will be a great opportunity to utilize the recovery recipe the way it's meant to be used with guidance from me on exactly how to use each piece. It will be fully online, so you can do it at home, in your undies, on your own time. How amazing is that? And it's totally private. I will keep you posted on that too. Totally private, in your undies. Do it on your time. So that's coming up. You'll hear more about that. And speaking of totally private, I get several messages a week asking me if our Facebook group is private or can other people see that you are in there. And the Addiction Unlimited group page is a private page, so it will not show up in your feed or anything like that. Only the people in the group can see you and what you post. But for those of you who are worried about the privacy issue, remember that I'm a life coach, right? I work with a ton of people who don't have any addiction issues at all. I work with people to change all kinds of habits. I work with people setting goals for their business. I work with couples for better communication. I'm a life coach. I happen to also be a recovering alcoholic, so I love working with people with addiction issues. But if you were ever questioned about being a part of my group, you are welcome to let people know. I work on improving life and rebuilding self-esteem and being a better human, regardless of what you're recovering from. Just tell them I'm a life coach and it's good information and it's supportive. That's all you have to say. And I hope that helps because I do get that question a lot. So I hope you guys love this episode on rock bottom. I hope it makes more sense for you. And I would love to hear some of your stories too. And don't forget to join us in the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Addiction Unlimited. I will also put that in the show notes. Our show notes get long, huh? So you can link directly to our Facebook group, the coaching page, and whatever else I said I would put in there. You can find that right in the show notes on your podcast app. We'll keep it nice and simple for you. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I look forward to next week's episode. We have Daniel Henderson coming on. Daniel Henderson is a young guy. He got sober young, and in early sobriety, he went hiking with a friend, and he fell 200 feet off a cliff in Utah. This is a crazy story, and Daniel's episode is next week, so look forward to that. Again, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'll see you next week.
You've reached the end of another great episode of the Addiction Unlimited podcast. Candid and honest conversation about addiction and recovery. Be sure to visit us at addictionunlimited.com to join the conversation and access show notes and links to everything we talked about. Love this episode? Please take 30 seconds to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes to help us improve and give you the information you want. Thanks for listening. See you next week.